Hi, everyone. This is Sally's Book Talk. Tune in daily for curated global literary highlights. Today, we're exploring the parenting classic, A Good Mother is Better Than a Good Teacher. When discussing parenting guides, this groundbreaking work simply can't be overlooked. Since its 2009 debut, this book has sold over 7 million copies worldwide, a true publishing phenomenon. Author Yin Jianli holds a master's degree in education from Beijing Normal University. With extensive classroom experience, she brings practical teaching insights to the table. Her expertise extends to family education research and child psychology consultation. She's also raised an exceptional daughter, Yuan, Beijing's municipal level exemplary student. Yuan scored 22 points above Tsinghua University's admission threshold in her college entrance exams. Surprisingly, this bestseller was initially rejected by over a dozen publishers. As an unknown author, Yin faced repeated rejections in the crowded parenting book market. Undeterred, she eventually secured publication through Writers Publishing House. The publisher recognized both its commercial potential and social significance. The title selection process was exceptionally rigorous. Over 100 potential titles were considered before finalizing the current one. Some critics argue the title undervalues educators' roles. The author clarifies it emphasizes family education rather than comparing roles. The book positions home as children's primary learning environment. Parents are identified as children's most influential first teachers. Quality family education forms the foundation for academic success. Let's now explore the author's groundbreaking parenting philosophy. The content is organized around four key parental concerns. First, cultivating effective learning habits in children. Second, enhancing children's academic performance. Third, implementing character education for children. Fourth, improving parents' own capabilities. Let's begin with the first question. Cultivating effective study habits. Educator Ye Shengtao famously stated, "True education means developing proper learning routines, the foundation of academic success." The author advocates independent homework completion to foster self-reliance and critical thinking. Many parents sacrifice personal time monitoring homework, hoping to instill discipline, often with counterproductive results. This approach gradually erodes children's self-regulation abilities, according to the author. This often creates dependency rather than genuine academic engagement. When Yuan started school, teachers recommended parental homework supervision. The author only provided initial guidance during the first few days, gradually allowing Yuan to complete assignments independently. When Yuan forgot homework due to playtime, the author offered choices rather than reprimands. Yuan immediately rejected the option of not completing work the next morning. Elementary students typically maintain strong respect for teacher authority. Yuan chose to complete homework despite losing sleep. This experience established Yuan's consistent homework routine. Some children struggle with independent work without parental presence. Parents can initially accompany children during transitional phases, but must strategically withdraw support over time. Example strategies: gradually reduce supervision while teaching task organization skills. Positive reinforcement through timely praise strengthens academic confidence. Parents should cultivate independence through patient guidance and positive reinforcement of achievements. Second, develop healthy perspectives on academic scores. Prioritize learning over grades. Perfect scores are many parents' ultimate academic expectation. The author advises against enforcing perfect score demands. Obsessive grade focus creates unhealthy pressure and limits true intellectual growth. And most children cannot consistently achieve academic perfection psychologically. Research shows balanced motivation yields better long-term academic outcomes than extreme pressure. The author maintained emotional neutrality regarding Yuan's test results. Celebrating successes without excessive enthusiasm became standard practice. Poor grades were reframed as valuable learning opportunities. This approach maintained Yuan's academic focus during setbacks. The author discourages material rewards for academic achievements. External incentives risk distorting children's intrinsic learning motivation. The recommendation: de-emphasize exams and numerical grading systems. This philosophy fosters sustainable academic development. Third, cultivate conscious TV moderation. Taiwanese writer Li Ao famously called television a mass production machine for idiots. Studies show TV viewing produces brainwave patterns similar to sleep states, detrimental to developing minds. Forced TV prohibition proves ineffective compared to developing self-regulation skills. How to cultivate children's self-regulated TV viewing habits? The author proposes three foundational approaches, starting from early childhood restrictions. Many parents inadvertently create dependency by using TV as emotional pacification during early developmental stages. Second, parental role modeling through voluntary screen limitation. Common parental justification: adults work, therefore deserve entertainment, often backfires educationally. This double standard intensifies children's media cravings while breeding academic resentment. Third, fostering literary engagement as alternative cognitive stimulation. Early readers demonstrate enhanced cognitive development and diversified interest cultivation. Natural time management emerges when children discover more rewarding activities than passive viewing. These strategies provide foundational understanding of the author's educational philosophy. Ultimately, cultivating efficient learning patterns enables academic achievement. Our second key topic: first priority, enhancing Chinese language arts proficiency. Chinese language proficiency forms the foundation for all academic subjects. Mastering Chinese literacy proves critically important for comprehensive development. The author identifies extensive reading as the most effective improvement strategy. When schools fail providing sufficient reading opportunities, parental supplementation becomes essential. Some parents mistakenly view extracurricular reading as academic interference. Elementary school testing patterns create misleading performance metrics favoring rote memorization. Non-readers may temporarily outperform through textbook-focused exam preparation. Standardized testing often measures textbook mastery rather than true linguistic capability. This creates illusory academic success that fails to predict long-term competency. The Chinese grade illusion typically only lasts through elementary school, becoming apparent in middle and high school. Over-reliance on textbooks leads to academic struggles later. Yuan started reading novels in second grade continuously. During her final high school winter vacation, she read 400,000 character literary works as mental refreshment. Thought this wasn't academic burden, but intellectual rejuvenation. The author estimates Yuan read 15 to 20 million characters from elementary through high school. Effective Chinese learning requires supplementing textbooks with extensive reading. Limited vocabulary remains primary obstacle for younger readers. The author shares character acquisition strategies through Yuan's experience. Yuan achieved third grade literacy levels upon elementary enrollment. This resulted from organic learning rather than formal instruction. Contextual character recognition became daily practice. The author read text verbatim during story time, enabling Yuan's textual memorization and self-reading. This immersive approach naturally expanded character recognition. Public outings became impromptu literacy sessions through environmental text exposure. Yuan developed instinctive text engagement habits over time. The author created a merit journal documenting positive behaviors. Each page briefly recorded single achievements like household chores or new skills. Entries used simple phrases Yuan could independently read. This dual-purpose tool boosted literacy and self-esteem simultaneously. Positive reinforcement through documented praise became a powerful motivational tool. By second grade, Yuan's reading proficiency matched middle school levels, while classmates still focused on basic literacy. The author realized integrating literacy into daily life proved exceptionally effective through parenting practice. This approach benefits both children's learning experience and parental involvement. Developing writing skills remains crucial for Chinese language mastery. How to effectively enhance children's writing abilities. The author identifies insufficient reading as root cause of writing aversion. Composition reflects cognitive depth beyond mere vocabulary. Reading expands linguistic capacity while broadening intellectual horizons. Instead of expensive writing camps, invest in building home libraries. Writing mirrors personal growth. Both require long-term cultivation. No writing technique can compensate for lack of authentic expression. The ultimate writing skill lies in truthfulness. Genuine thoughts fuel authentic expression. Moral lecturing often stifles students' authentic voice in compositions. Societal pressure promotes formulaic responses over original thinking. Example, teacher assigned essay, helping mother with housework. Student initially complied by doing chores and writing reflections. Original draft contained honest observations about domestic labor's tedium. Child connected household tasks with career motivation fears. Draw conclusion. Academic effort prevents undesirable occupational outcomes. This authentic expression demonstrated critical thinking beyond standard responses. The young writer's initial honest reflections lacked sophistication, but demonstrated authenticity. The teacher criticized her perspective as problematic regarding domestic work perceptions. Parental guidance redirected focus to maternal appreciation rather than authentic experience. The child questioned parental hypocrisy regarding household labor distribution. Well-intentioned adult guidance inadvertently distorted authentic writing purposes. This creates cognitive dissonance, impairing students' compositional authenticity. Genuine, independent thinking liberates creative expression. Authenticity naturally generates abundant writing material. The author advocates classical poetry recitation for cognitive development. Chinese classical poetry embodies linguistic essence with unique rhythmic patterns. Poetry memorization enhances both retention skills and aesthetic appreciation. Early childhood recitation focuses on phonetic enjoyment over semantic understanding. Gradual introduction of simplified explanations begins around age 4. Yuan's formal poetry education commenced during preschool years. This foundation provided academic advantages throughout her schooling. Textbook poems became familiar review material rather than new challenges. Enhanced memorization capacity became lasting academic asset. Having covered language art strategies, we now examine mathematical improvement. Mathematics forms essential foundation for practical life applications. Mathematical literacy proves crucial for modern problem solving. Traditional classroom methods often fail to engage young learners effectively. The author advocates gamified learning to cultivate numerical interest. Gaming proves the most effective educational approach. Young Yuan frequently played general store role play with the author. Yuan acted as shopkeeper while the author played customer, teaching arithmetic through simulated transactions. This gameplay essentially created continuous applied mathematics practice. Foundational cognitive training. Yuan demonstrated exceptional ease with abstract mathematical concepts during formal schooling. The author's methodology highlights literacy's dual role as academic tool and lifelong learning foundation. Gamification maintains mathematical engagement where traditional methods often fail. True excellence combines academic achievement with moral character development. Third crucial aspect, implementing authentic character education, or principle. Cultivating truth-seeking mentality. Through counseling experience, the author identified parental vanity as common educational obstacle. Fundamental issue. Lack of pragmatic realism in parenting approaches. Example, Forcing piano lessons despite child's artistic inclination, career-oriented academic pressure overriding genuine interests. This distorted mindset cripples objective self-assessment capabilities. Reality distortion creates limited vision despite superficial cleverness. Cultivating truth-seeking mentality requires parental modeling and biographical study. Historical figures' biographies demonstrate truth-based achievement patterns. Visionary leaders across fields exemplify reality-grounded perseverance. Biographical immersion fosters authentic, critical thinking development. Biographical reading facilitates dialogue with greatness, nurturing authentic moral development. Secondly, cultivating critical thinking abilities. We consistently encourage independent thought over blind conformity. The essence of critical spirit. Critical thinking forms the core of scientific reasoning and creative personality development. Nurturing this capacity represents crucial educational responsibility. For children, critical spirit manifests as courageous self expression rather than novel theories. Typical demonstration: questioning teachers' statements when appropriate. Teachers represent children's first authority figures, worthy of respect yet imperfect. Case example: ethics teacher asked about television's value during class. Yuan bluntly responded, "No value." Teacher countered with conventional benefits like knowledge acquisition. Yuan retorted, "Then why do parents restrict TV as academic distraction?" This challenge discomforted the instructor. Parent-teacher conference feedback criticized Yuan's perceived arrogance despite academic excellence. Traditional education prioritizes compliance over creative cultivation. Yuan's intention wasn't disrespect, but authentic expression of confusion. Parents should balance respect for authority with intellectual autonomy preservation. Educators should validate critical thinking before offering guidance. Approachable teachers fostering open dialogue create better learning environments than authoritarian figures. Such classrooms demonstrate improved academic engagement and peer relationships. Finally, establishing healthy sexual education frameworks. China's sexual education development remains comparatively underdeveloped. Many institutions reduce it to biological fact memorization. The author condemns this oversimplification as more harmful than no education. Teen pregnancy and promiscuity stem from underdeveloped moral awareness, not lack of sexual knowledge. Deficiencies in self-respect and capacity for healthy relationships fuel these issues. The author advocates prioritizing worldview and love education over biological instruction. Recommends delaying sexual curiosity through measured information disclosure. Answer children's questions matter-of-factly without suggestive undertones. Common childhood query: where do babies come from? Rousseau's classic response in Emile: from mother's womb with great pain. This answer focuses on childbirth consequences rather than conception mechanics. Chain description naturally curbs excessive childhood curiosity. Practical guidelines for early-stage sexual education. Never accompany children to opposite-sex bathrooms regardless of age. Discontinue co-sleeping with opposite-sex children during puberty. Parental guidance crucially shapes learning habits and moral development. And this demands exceptional wisdom in family education approaches. How can parents improve their educational capabilities? First, create harmonious family environment through stable parental relationships. Frequent parental conflicts create anxious, hypersensitive children. The author consciously shielded Yuan from marital disagreements. When unavoidable, involved Yuan as neutral mediator. Emphasize physical parental presence over material provisions. Many parents mistakenly prioritize financial security over direct involvement. Irreplaceable nature of parental educational influence. Family education forms unique foundation no institution can replicate. The author strongly advises against sending children to relatives' care, emphasizing keeping them close whenever possible. When separation is unavoidable, maintain emotional connection through regular communication. Strategies include scheduled calls and visits to reinforce parental presence. Secondly, enhance educational philosophy through active listening. While parents praise children's obedience, the author's household values mutual listening. This means understanding children's perspectives rather than blind compliance. Authentic dialogue fosters meaningful guidance and healthy development. Third, permit childhood mistakes as crucial learning opportunities. Practical experience builds self reflection and improvement capabilities. Differentiate error types. Non moral mistakes require patient understanding. Natural consequences often teach better than parental reprimands. They'll naturally learn proper conduct through experience. Example, when Yuan Yuan damaged a $700 camera lens, costing $2,000 to replace, the author responded with empathy rather than criticism. Yuan Yuan's genuine remorse proved sufficient for learning. Even serious errors shouldn't warrant physical or verbal abuse. Violent discipline creates long-term psychological risks, despite temporary compliance. Children's existing guilt gets replaced by resentment through harsh punishment. Mistakes naturally bring emotional consequences needing understanding. Parental compassion preserves learning opportunities better than anger. You'll notice that constant scolding makes children increasingly disobedient. Parents should understand children's behavior from their perspective and provide positive guidance, not seek to dominate them. The author firmly believes friendly education achieves what scolding does without the damage. Third, avoid overmanagement. A friend of the author's micromanaged every aspect of their child's behavior, constantly correcting everything from clothing choices to English pronunciation. Yet the child became increasingly introverted with declining grades. The perplexed parent couldn't identify the root cause. The author diagnosed excessive parental control as the core issue. This represents fundamental disrespect for children's natural development processes. Solution: strategic non-interference. But parents protest. What about exams? The author sees surface level laziness masking deeper systemic issues. Underlying causes: poor self control, immature values, lack of self esteem from flawed parenting. Effective management requires educational reform and patience for self directed growth. Parental self improvement includes mastering school meetings. Parent teacher conferences should balance academic reality with emotional sensitivity. Humiliating meetings create school resentment and destroy motivation. Post-meeting priority: protect learning enthusiasm through constructive support. At Yuan Yuan's conference, math emerged as her only relative weakness. The math teacher suggested targeted improvement strategies during discussion. The author didn't relay the math teacher's exact words, instead reframing the feedback constructively. She told Yuan Yuan, "Your teacher sees strong math potential despite recent test scores." Yuan Yuan was astonished. Math had never been her strongest subject. The author added, "With decades of teaching experience, his judgment carries weight." This perspective shift sparked Yuan Yuan's renewed mathematical confidence. The author emphasizes filtering teacher feedback through developmental psychology considerations. These insights conclude the four core parenting principles discussed. Applying these methods promises smoother family educational journeys. That concludes our exploration of A Good Mother is Better Than a Good Teacher. Find key takeaways below. Until next time.